Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Motor Trade Mentors podcast with myself, James Alford, Mr. Theo Cook, and today we have young Lewis Spencer with us. So we're going to go into a little bit of detail about what Lewis is up to, where he's come from, how he's ended up where he is. No mental health stuff today, so it's going to be a little bit more fun, if that's okay with you. And yeah, if you can just give us a very brief description on basically how you've ended up starting off, and just a little bit about you and like what you did previous job-wise, so we can sort of get the feel for where you want to go, and then we can start asking some questions and take it from there and hopefully enhance the current experience that you've got. So if you'd be kind enough to introduce yourself, that would be grand.
Yeah, so my name's Lewis Spencer. I'm the owner of LS AutoBan Motors. I first started in the trade for a main dealer, actually. I won't say the name of the main dealer, but I started as a trainee sales executive, and I moved up within 3 years into management back in August of last year. I lost my stepdad earlier last year. We were supposed to set this business up together, and that was the main reason why I set it up, to be honest. So started on my driveway, just bought some motor trade insurance, got some trade plates, did a lot of trade-to-trade stuff, and yeah, within 4 or 5 months, I'm on a 15,000 square foot pitch, just trying to make it happen, really.
Fair play.
That's a decent sized site you've got pretty quickly.
Yeah, I felt pretty lucky with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How old are you, Lewis?
26.
Okay, so you're still a young
I'm a baby.
Still fresh out the box. So, couple of questions for you, if that's okay. So obviously, like previously, you've been in the motor trade a while. I get it, and obviously that's really unpleasant that you were hoping to start up with your stepdad. But I suppose, like, if anything, that gives you a little bit more motivation now to make it as good as it can ever be. Because sometimes when you set up with people together, or like with a father figure, you tend to end up sort of being pulled in whatever direction they want to go in. So
yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, good point. So it's always a bit of a blessing in disguise when things like that happen. So I really hope that you can sort of celebrate it, if anything, moving forward. But what's behind the name? So I've got down as LS AutoBan. I am a fan of the Autobahn, and you've got a Mexican twist at the front. So
it's just my initials, basically. So Lewis Ashley Spencer, but just in a different way.
Right.
The reason
I thought it was like a Mexican-German combo.
I mean, I do look a bit Mexican, but no.
No, I wasn't hinting that. But I was just saying, like, as soon as I heard LS AutoBan,
be careful now, James.
It could smash in a solid car dealership, but also serve you a cocktail. That's what goes on in my head. So, I'm thinking like potential like cubic car sort of vibe, little bar in the corner, come down, have a cocktail of the day, buy yourself a Fiat 500.
Get yourself the mariachi bands giving you a little sing-song as you...
Now that's racist. That's fucking racist now. I'm supposed to be the one that's not controlling my behaviour.
Yeah, James is on now. Yeah, we all knew brand.
Yeah. So that's cool. That makes sense now. I get that. So I've got down here that you incorporated yourself in August last year. So is that when you actually started, or was that when you went, bing, I'm going to get the ball rolling?
So what happened was I was working for the main dealer I was at, and X, Y, and Z had happened at this main dealer. I'd moved up into management, was told a couple of fibs basically about my wage and stuff, and I left for immediate effect on the last day of the month, which was the 31st of August.
What manufacturer were they?
Vauxhall. And so I made the decision just to register it straight away. I didn't start instantly. It took about a week or two because I was setting up the motor trade insurance, and that was a nightmare because of my age. Companies were trying to charge like £6,000 for it. Managed to finally get it for about £3,000. Thought, yeah, let's just go for it. And yeah, started with one car, which was a Honda Civic. It was like a 07 plate. It was a bag of nails. Sorted that out, and then from there just reinvested, and we hold about 20 cars at one time now. We have sold quite a few, so if you look on our website, it won't show that, but at the minute.
Yeah, I
So,
had a look on. I had a look on your Facebook this morning. It looks like you've been pretty busy quite recently.
yeah,
You've had a good run.
at the minute, it's got like a 48-hour turnaround. I mean, it's not going to be like that forever. I know it's not, but we're picking another 6 up today. So straight after this podcast, I'm off to Leeds with somebody to go and pick a couple up. So yeah, it's going well.
Can I circle back a little bit, if that's all right? Obviously, when you incorporated in August, obviously you left at the end of the month. How did you feel when you set up that? You know, when you go on Company's House, obviously there's not many people out there have done it, so it's a difficult thing to explain to people. How did you feel when you set it up, typed it all in, and then you get an email the following day going, your company is now incorporated? Like, explain that feeling to us. Obviously, I'm grinning because I know what it feels like, but I want to know how it makes you feel.
It's one of them like, I've actually just done that. It's quite a daunting feeling, to be honest. But I had, at this company I was with, I'd handed me notice in, no word of lie, about 6 or 7 times. Kept getting convinced to stay, more money, company cars, all that sort of stuff. So I really come to that, the end of the road.
So that was
with
like the
myself.
crunch point. Once you'd done that, you're like, off you fuck,
I've
done it.
The promotion up to management was actually a blessing in disguise. It let me fully disconnect from the business, because when I was just a salesman, I started as a trainee, I moved up to a senior sales executive, and I was just on fire. I mean, I've got a record at that site. I sold 24 cars over a 4-day period in a new caravan. But when I moved up to management, it just let me disconnect from the sales side a bit, if that makes sense. And I just thought, you know what, life's too short. If it goes wrong, I can get another job in, as a sales executive, no problem at all. So
There's no reason for it to go wrong.
No, I'm quite a cynical way of thinking. I always think, worst case, I'm going to get out of it. I've got 2 young kids. I've got a family. I've got a big mortgage over my head. So, just looking for a plan B, but it's going really well. I weren't expecting how well it was going to go. In my first month, I started with, like, say, 1 car. I think I did 2 car sales that whole month. And I was starting to think like, oh no, I've made like a massive error. And then, I was just like, oh. And obviously, it was on my driveway. It is hard work. Like, compared to what I'd had before in a main dealer environment, everything's set up for you. Having to convince customers to purchase a car from you when you're functioning from your driveway is quite a different experience. Well, then come November, say it again, sorry.
No, carry on. Sorry, my fault.
Come November, I did 12 cars on my drive, and from there, I thought, no, I can make this work.
This is something that we've been doing this a little while now, me and Theo. That's something that I always forget to touch on, is when you are selling cars on your driveway at home, which I've done. It's a really intimate experience, and there's no, you can't. It's really difficult to explain that, because it is a process and a journey of what you're going through. Like I remember when I first started selling cars at home, I was on. I was finishing up with another job that I had at the time, and it was like a crossover period. And I remember like that pressure that you feel, like, like, what am I going to do? Like, where's my income going to come from? And then I'm sat there selling a car, and I'm getting the customer to sign the invoice, and they like hand me their child. Like, can you hold my child whilst you're doing this? And you're like, whoa, like this. But then you're like, I'll do anything, like whatever it takes. Like, we just want to get this done. I want to succeed, all that sort of stuff. And there's little moments that you go through, and it is a lot. And there's so much. It's such a quick journey. Like, it probably feels like yesterday you were selling cars on your driveway at home, and your emotions are here, and then you're coming back to earth the following day again, because you're like, I've got to do it all again, and then it's here, and then you've got to do it all again.
I feel like when you do it from your drive, I used to feel obliged to accept anything that the customer wanted.
Yeah.
To sort of outdo any dealers that they're potentially going to, because at the bottom of our road where we live, there's a business down there, and they've been functioning for about 30 years, and they sell like 50 cars a month down there. So I'm literally probably 3 streets next to them.
You've got to offer them something unique.
Yeah, exactly.
And whether that's price, service, warranty, just generally being a nice person, like they want to just buy from you, you have to offer them something new, unique. For me, it was cuddling someone's baby. For you, it might be something else, like, I've
not gone that far yet.
I'm just saying that, like, at the time, I do whatever it takes, and
exactly.
you do whatever it takes, and there's nothing to say that I wouldn't potentially end up in that position again, and I would do it again if that's what it takes. It's just one of those things.
It's one of the stepping stones, isn't it? Almost all of us have
It's one of the
started
stepping
there.
stones.
Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's not. It's like it's the. I don't know what you'd call it. Like preschool, isn't it? It's where you're just learning the very
It's the
first
groundwork,
bits.
isn't it? It's the
Yeah.
foundation. It's, you start from nothing, but it also makes a pretty good story. Like on my social media side now, from the first post that I put on from my driveway to now taking pictures of the forecourt, and also the price of the cars are going up. And a lot of these customers that I've had and not followers of social media are like following the journey
Yeah.
you've started. And I just think when you've got something like that behind you, I do think it helps you quite a lot. To be honest.
I had a memory come up on my Facebook the other day actually from when we started like 13 years ago, and it was like I think it was an X-Reg or a 51 plate Astra, like real old shape 1.7 diesel, and it's in a little gateway just up from our house back in the day. And you think, bloody hell, when you step back and have a look at it, at the time you don't realise that it was like what you were doing then was pretty cool, to be fair, to be doing it by yourself. And then 10 years, 12 years later, so God knows if you've come so far so quickly, in 10 years time you'll look back and sky's the limit, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've got the LS AutoBan Facebook here. So obviously we've got loads of little stuff going on. And I seen that you started with nothing and now you're up to 367 people, and there's quite a few. And it's just busy on here, and it looks good. But obviously, like that's something that we can discuss in a minute. But like you said, you've made it look busy. Like what a journey. So that's happy days so far. So the Facebook side of it looks good. I noticed that you've set up a little YouTube channel as well. I've watched a couple of little snippets of it just to, you've put your journey on there and some bits on there, which is quite intriguing, which gives customers the option to have a little sort of like peek, and they want to have a little peek behind the curtain sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
At the moment, like we heavily promote that, but I think at the moment there becomes a certain point where you might have to sort of plateau that out, because there's what we're finding at the moment is some of the motor dealers that have gone full spuds on YouTube have found out that it's actually really hard to maintain letting somebody peek behind the curtain all the time. So a perfect example is obviously Dave, that was one of the mentors previous on here. This week he did his last YouTube episode, and his feelings were he just said, "Look, I've done it for such a long time. It's exhausting having a camera pointed in your face all the time." And it's like full kudos to the guys that can do it. And I'm not saying that you should stop anytime soon, but just remember there might be a time when you go, do you know what, I need to take a little break from it, because it is a lot for us, and it is a stressful environment. And the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a position where you crack just by trying to put stuff on the internet and, update your socials.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. So, I mean, when you're a one-man band, you're stretched anyway.
Is it literally just you, is it?
It's me. So the business before was called Highway Motors. So we're not affiliated between each other, but sometimes he comes and gives me an hand with certain stuff. So he'll take me up to auction and come and get cars and stuff like that. But the actual business side of it, the selling, is all on me.
It's fun though, isn't it?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I know
business manager, all of it. Car valeter. It is fun. I secretly miss it. Like I really do secretly miss it. But then at the same time, like sometimes when you get a couple of complaints in, or someone that's a little bit unreasonable, and sometimes when I'm at arm's length, sometimes I'm like, thank God for that. But like, it's so exciting where you're at the moment, and I miss that feeling of excitement. It is a lot of fun. So secretly envious.
Dip your toe back in.
I'm so awful with people. I'm so rude to people. It's not. I don't do it on purpose. I just like I did many years in selling mobile phones, and then obviously the car sales side of it myself afterwards. And I've run out of people, and what I do is I'll avoid it because I know that I'm so close to saying something completely inappropriate and really probably rude, to be fair. So I just distance myself from it. And sometimes people try and get in contact with me like outside of the work, like try and go around me. I don't tell them to fuck off, but I find a really polite way of saying, look, fucking go through the company. Like we've got people in place to deal with that. But yeah. So, have you got any plans? I'm obviously, I don't know if we've explained. Obviously, you've got yourself a premises. You've got a lovely big lot which you need to fill, but I'm sure you'll fill that pretty quickly because if you're selling, which is something that you clearly have no issues with, you'll have that place full in no time. Have you got like a longevity plan to get someone in? Like, are you going to go for salesman first, valeter first, bit of everything, or what's the plan?
So the way of thinking is to get a salesman in, sort of like a sales manager, cross salesman, so who just runs the full lot. There are people that I want to come and join. Like, in fact, I've got 2 calls going on whilst we're on this podcast for a valeter who used to work with me at the dealer I was at, who wants to come here. But the issue is where we're at the minute is I just feel like it'd be such a risk to take somebody on this early. If I can't
How many
commit to
cars
the
have you
range.
sold so far in the last 30 days?
So I've done, I believe, 18.
18 cars in the last 30 days.
Yeah.
So realistically, you've got to sell 2 cars to cover the cost of one valeter. Why the fuck haven't you got one?
I know. I think people have told me it is something I definitely need to sort out. I mean, I have been thinking about it because...
And you've got him on the phone, like, ready to go.
Yeah, he's been ringing me since yesterday, so...
yeah, I bet he fucking is. I bet he wants to come on that journey with you. Like...
It is daunting. It's daunting that first... Once you get the first member of staff, then it becomes a whole lot easier because taking the first one is the step. Once you get one in... The first time we employed a full-time valeter, people were like, well, that's mad, just outsource it. I was like, no, I want one here all the time. I've got 3 now because the speed they can get through the cars to a really high standard means we can churn the cars out so much quicker. There's not cars arriving that are sitting here for 6, 7, 8 days. Like 2 days they're on the pitch, they're pictured, they're videoed, they're live. It's made our turnaround so much quicker.
It's the next step. I think that the issue I've got is, which is probably from a mental side, is I weren't expecting it to grow as quick as it has in such a short space of time. So my plan that I had for getting staff was about a year into the business because I thought that's probably how long it would take to grow it to a point where...
You've sold more than what most people that are established dealerships would in the last 30 days.
Yeah.
Get a fucking valeter.
Yeah.
I think
I'll tell you what.
that now.
Because you had a plan for 12 months, but you're ahead of the curve, so just adapt to it.
Yeah.
I think that's the long and short of it. You need to, whoever that guy is, you need to pick up the phone to him and say, right, mate, I am fucking ready. And you've just said to us, you've got 5 cars standing up in a minute. Like, the last thing you want to be doing is be sat outside valeting them when realistically you can be getting them online, getting photos ready of them, working together, and you'll be buying the next 5 cars before you know it, because you've got that big old space to fill up, and you certainly can't do that on your own. And by the sounds of things, your talent is in front of customers and behind the desk doing those sort of things, not valeting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can't valet to save my life. No.
Most great salesmen can. So I've heard that Theo's a terrible valeter.
I'm a fantastic valeter. I'm a terrible salesman.
Oh, brilliant. So, what would you like from us today? Obviously, we have limited knowledge. We can only give you what we have experience-wise, and we definitely don't know everything. But what would you like to ask us today that might be able to assist you in your journey, apart from getting a new valeter?
You've really touched on it a bit already, but it's from the growth side of things. How to handle more staff working with yourself. I think, obviously, when I was at the company I was at, yes, I was managing people, but I think when they're under your business directly, it's very different. Things that scare me, if I'm honest, is like from a legal point of view, the things that you're getting involved with when you start employing people.
What's the legal things that scare you?
Just like things like sickness and stuff like that, and all that sort of stuff. You never really know who you're employing in reality.
Well, you've got if you bring someone on, personally, I would do it on a 2-week trial or a 30-day promotion, or even as much as a 3-month probation. To give you an idea, all the big companies out there, if you're sick in your first 3 months, you don't get paid sick pay. So realistically, they are self-employed for the first 3 months anyway. So it's in their best interests not to be a dick. But the chances are, you'll either find a really good guy that's a good valeter. It sounds like you know him already anyway, so he's probably going to be great. don't be afraid to fire the fuckers either. All
Yeah.
right,
Well, that's the
if they're
bit.
shit,
Yeah.
job centre plus, great hours, bad pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and that's the bit that's way more difficult than hiring somebody. That's the bit that's way more difficult, and it's not. The legal side of it is completely irrelevant. Like, I wouldn't worry about that side of it at all. There's loads of companies out there that will help you get rid of someone. But if someone is shit for not even a long period of time, for I'd say 2 weeks, try and deal with it. And if nothing gets dealt with, get rid of them, move on, find someone else. There's loads of people out there that are looking for work. And there's some really, like some of the people that we've had through our doors here, Theo's probably had the same. I've employed people based on if I could spend some time with them, not their valeting. You know, sometimes it's just a case of, do they want to be part of your journey? Yes or no? Like, you can pick up valeting, like you can get better at it. There's no questions like that. I've had people come through the door here that have been with me 10 years now, and when they walked in the door, they didn't know a thing about valeting. They go, I just want to work. You know, and sometimes they are the greatest people out there. And
yeah, we've had two start this year, and they're both on 3 months. Well, the one's coming up to the end of his 3 month probation now, and you get a real sense then. In 3 months is quite a long time, so you get a real sense if they're going to be any good or not, and then you can build a relationship in that time as well. And once you've got them in for 3 months, and if they're good, and like James says, they don't have to be perfect because they can learn, especially if they're youngish and they're keen and they want to be involved. Then don't be afraid of it. There will be some mistakes, and you'll think, shit, why have I employed that person? But like James says, sometimes you just got to bite the bullet, and if it doesn't work, what you don't want them to do is drag your business down, stress you out massively for months on end, because you feel like you shouldn't get rid of somebody, but ultimately it's your business, and you don't want them holding you back, and you don't want them giving you sleepless nights night after night because you don't know what to do with them. So get somebody, but if you can get somebody that you know, fantastic, because you know that
he is a good lad.
You know that he's keen to help the business grow, especially if he's approached you. So
yeah, that's a really quite a good thing. You know, like, you know, you'll probably find that it'll be joyful for the opportunity. He'll be sat there wearing all your lovely, flashy new workwear and stuff, and stomping it around like he's part of the team. Like, that's what you want.
Yeah.
So
our newest fella, to Callum, he's 18. He's brilliant. I'm so glad we've got him on board. But he bought his first car from us and his family, and sort of liked the setup and everything. And so as soon as we put a job out, he was straight on it. And that's what you want. You want somebody who wants to come and wants to be there, and then you can mould them. Then if you get them at the right age, and you can mould somebody to be what you want them to be in your business. But give yourself a probation period is a good thing to do, because it gives you a little bit of time to just suss them out. And then obviously, like James says, they are basically self-employed for that time. You're obviously paying them, but they haven't got the sick pay, and they haven't got everything that comes with it once they've got a proper contract. So that'd be a good idea, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that probably covers that, really, doesn't it? And then obviously later on down the line, when you start to get a bit more busy sales-wise to the point where you can't control it, then you probably want a salesman in.
Yeah, because my way of what I'm wanting eventually is to take a step back from
You can't.
the customer, the customer facing point is what I want to
You
take.
might be able to do that, but you won't be able to take a step back from it. You've got to remember,
not from the business. I want to just run the business. I want to take a step back from the selling side and stuff like that eventually, long term.
When you've got sort of sub 5 employees, you will always be on that snake, if you know what I mean. So when you've got, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the ride becomes bumpier as you go along, and the bigger it gets. So you're probably going to find for the first, I would probably say 3 years minimum, you're going to be very, very involved, and you'll probably still be out on the forecourt, still be out there sort of selling to people. Like, well, Theo still does it now anyway. So I wouldn't. Your plan probably shouldn't involve trying to step back at the moment. Just make sure that you're in a position where, if you're not available, somebody else can step in and take over those jobs that you do. That's probably the most sensible way of doing it, because then, like you said, if you get someone that rings in sick and he's your main salesperson, you've only got one salesperson, you're back on the sales floor again. Whereas if you're in and out of that sales floor all the time, doing a little bit of valeting, doing a little bit of driving, bit of everything, you know that you can still, if everybody doesn't turn up one day, you can still go in and take over that and do that. But you've experienced that at main dealer anyway. But the difference with main dealer is obviously they don't give a toss if 3 people don't turn up. They're just like, get on with it, work through the mess. Whereas when it's your business, it's slightly different.
The mess is your mess, all of it.
Yeah. And when you've got to eat shit, you've got to eat shit.
Yeah, that's right.
It's worse when it's your own. So, but yeah, that is something that I would keep an eye on.
Are you looking to carry on with that sort of? I had a quick look at your stock, and it's like first time drivers type of stuff. Are you looking to just carry on with that for the time being and just have more of them?
Eventually, which is why the name is what it is, I do want to move over to first time drivers cars and German cars. I did dip my toe into it very early on, and it bit me horrifically.
So we've got some little dream boats on here. They all look nicely presented. Photos look good.
So that is bang on the sort of stuff that we used to sell when we first started out, and obviously, I mean, literally the same sort of identical stuff. We don't do a huge amount that's a lot different these days. It's just newer and a higher value, but we've stuck to that sort of profile.
The age of them have got lower. The ones that are still on the website, when I first got into this site, I basically panicked buying quite a few cars because I thought I was going to carry over about 12 cars from when I was doing it on my drive, and I sold them all within a week. So I was like, oh, no, sod's law, isn't it? So obviously prices were ridiculous, and well, they still are. But I bought 6 cars in one bulk from Aston Barclay, and I just got stung with each one. There was either no margin, or there was a riddled with issues when they arrived. So yeah, they're all sorted now, but there are a couple that are left over. But since we've changed over to the newer stuff with a bit less mileage, they're just selling straight away. So that's the sort of stuff that we're going to be sticking with.
Yeah, you can build a business on. Well,
they're just like bread and butter cars, aren't they?
Yeah, and you'll always have buyers for them. You know, I know this everybody wants to sell German cars because it looks nice and your socials can look nice and everything looks nice. But it's just the headaches that come with them, unless you know them inside out and backwards, and you know that 1 in 3 is going to cost you a turbo, and you sell the low mileage petrol stuff, you just don't have the problems.
Well, I had when I was on my driveway, I'd probably say not my ego, but I was just getting carried away. So sold all these cars, and I thought, right, business is now ready to go to the next level of cars. So I bought a Volkswagen Golf, which you'll see some on my social media. Really nice car, 2-litre GT TDI, and I bought an Audi A3 1.4 TFSI, and I could not sell these cars for the life of me. They was stuck for about 2 months, something like that, and I eventually had to sell them at a loss. And that was a massive lesson. That was the biggest lesson I had. And I went back, and I basically got scared and went back to what I knew.
To say, I'm sure if you had a Golf and an A3 now on your pitch,
yeah, it was where we was at in the business. It just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just bread and butter cars. You know what you're getting with them. So Kia Rios, Hyundai 20s, Hyundai 10s. They do say on the tin. That's just the sort of stuff that we're doing at the minute.
Yeah. And there's no, like I say, you don't let your ego get in the way of,
it taught me a big lesson.
You're still trying to build, aren't you? So
again, I think that's something that we never really talk about in here, Theo. Is it's very, very easy to have a little run of selling cars and think that you're fucking untouchable.
Yeah.
And you got a bit of money in the bank. You think, do you know what? Fuck you. I've got this covered. I am the daddy. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 2 weeks later, you are not anymore. And that's the brutal part about this trade. It's like I said, it's very, very normal to feel like you're fucking crushing it, and then it crushes you 2 weeks later.
It
and
does.
That's something that we don't really speak. I know Joe goes on about it how he struggles through those sort of bits and pieces, but you are literally billionaire or bust all the time, and it's just working through it like you had with those Golfs and the Audis.
In November, if you look on my social media, you'll see a post because we've just hit 50 car sales since September. But at the end of start of December, I was involved in quite a serious car fire. I only just got out of the car, so I was selling a Toyota Yaris, and this is what I was going back to, James, with how I was just felt obliged to agree to anything. So I had a Toyota Yaris. Customers come to me drive, wanted to buy it, and they had a part exchange, which was a Alfa Romeo Mito 1.6 diesel, which there's not. If you look on Auto Trader, there's not many about
No,
at
they're
all.
normally 1.3s, aren't they?
Yeah, it was a 1.6 diesel in that
JTD,
black colour.
JTDM. Is that right?
Yeah. And I was like, what's wrong with it? She says, there's a bit of an oil leak on it. It's at my work near Quick Fit. If you come and pick it up, drive it home. And there was just no alarm bells going off at that time, so I went to go and pick it up, and I managed to get about 15 minutes away from where I collected it, and the whole car just got engulfed in flames through the dashboard, and I was in the car. So yeah, that nearly ended my business pretty quick, to be honest. We could, not from a financial side, but more mental. I didn't sell. I actually stopped buying cars for about 2 or 3 weeks in December because I don't know.
What did you do about it afterwards?
What in terms of?
Did you go back to the customer and say, by the way, I picked your car up, it caught fire?
What happened was, so 2 fire engines turned up, police turned up, wanted to investigate if I'd been involved in some sort of fraud where I'd set the car on fire on purpose, if it was involved in like crime or something like that. They then said I was going to get charged quite a lot of fees. So I went back to the customer, and customer basically just fobbed me off. So
wow,
sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, she got a letter through from the police because I brought this car into trade, but I'm guessing because it was still processing or whatever, the police could see the last keeper was her. So they sent the letter through to her, and she redirected it to me. And I had a bill to pay of £950 storage fees because this car had been in this private lot for nearly a month.
Oh, so she'd left it there for a month, and you had to pay the fees.
It was quite a lot. I actually had to travel to I had to travel to Alfreton to pay this fee because they wouldn't. They basically were saying to me, "Do you want to keep the car?" And I said, "Well, obviously not. There's nothing left of it." So yeah, there was like, "Well, you're gonna have to come to sign all these documents," and I had to go sign all these documents on the 23rd of December. So it was quite a rough time, to be honest.
Just when you're starting out as well, that is not what you need.
I've got to be honest, mate, that's fucking horrible. And it's really typical of customers to do stuff like that. And it's even worse. I'm confident they knew there was a underlying fault there. I think I know what's happened. I know those JTD engines, and the long and short of it is basically what they do is they shit fuel out the top of the injectors. The injector seals goes over the back of the engine, and it probably had a hot DPF and a block DPF, and it probably shat itself. Their garage she knew all about it, and I'm confident she knew what she was doing, and she's basically fucked you. Me personally, you now probably would have thought to yourself, I just want to get out of this, I want to get away, I want to pay the stuff, I want to get away, yada, yada. Now, with the experience that I've had, I would have taken that person to fucking court. And I would have said, these are my losses, this is what I went through, this is all my... And you would win. And you would win aggressively, because they've knowingly sold you a car that was faulty, part exchange it. The fact that you had to go and pick it up from somewhere else that had been stored, like everything tallies up there. That's just plain and simple not.
And then they come back to me for warranty work as well.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
What did you do?
So the CD player. And I just felt obliged to sort it out. So
what the fuck?
Yeah. So what happened? I'll tell you the full story. So she had an issue with her car. the radio wasn't working. The CD player was saying that there was a CD in it, but there wasn't. So I went down to try and sort it out for her, and at the same time picked the Alfa Romeo up. So I got screwed by paying all this money to repair a car, and I was doing it myself, which took me about 2 or 3 hours in like a customer parking lot that she had. And then I picked her car up and got absolutely screwed from that as well. So I lost money on warranty, the car that I purchased from her, and also all the fees after. It was quite a big loss.
That's a court-worthy claim, that is. And you've got a few years. You've still got plenty of time to do it if you still wanted to. I would heavily advise that. And I think that's really, really... It's typical of our industry. It's just really, really cruel. And people don't care about you. And if anything, she should have been more accommodating because she knew that you were a new company.
Yeah. But I think the thing that's frustrating with it is, like, if you imagine if that was us, one of us through here. God,
my God, they would have gone through the roof. Yeah, if it had been the other way round, the customer would have gone fucking mental.
I mean, your business would probably be gone, by the time they've done your cut.
We're not humans, are we? We're just motor dealers. We're a different species. We don't exist in the real world. We're just robots that just go, yes sir, no sir, thank you sir.
3 bags full stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's draw a line underneath that. That's a moment that's passed by. Obviously, I think you should do something about it, but you can do whatever you want with that. But that's, to whoever did that to you, like, shame on them. Shame on them. So, but yeah, anyway, so next steps, exciting stuff. Let's go for more exciting stuff. Obviously, you're going to get yourself a valeter. We're happy with that. Is there anything else you want to ask us? Any advice you want on any other little bits and pieces?
I think that's it, to be honest. I watch these podcasts. I was just saying to Theo before you joined, I watch them all the time, to be honest. So I'm constantly taking little bits of advice from watching them. So I just want to thank you both for your time and thanks for having me on it.
Have you got anything that you would class as like a unique thing as to why you think that you're going to succeed with what you're doing?
It probably sounds a bit big-headed, but I think
this is an opportunity to be big-headed. Don't I just want to have a little poke and see what sort of levels of confidence I'm dealing with here, because we genuinely, Theo and I really enjoy doing this, and it's nice to see. Like, some people we have passed through, we're like, sometimes it's not quite there. And like, you come in and I think you're pretty confident of what you're doing. So it's more of a case of going, what is what can I look out for in the future? What am I going to see? And I'll be like, do you know what? I was there when that started, and we had a little, we helped it a little bit. So yeah, what is your USP?
I just think in myself, my way of seeing car sales is it always has been different to the average salespeople. So, I don't have an arrogance about me. I want to do right by the customer, and people buy from people at the end of the day. That's my way of thinking. I just think if you're a good person, people will buy from you. You don't need to come out with all this BS to customers. I think where the business is coming from, and the fact that I was supposed to set up with my stepdad, and that didn't happen. He is actually here on the wall, so that's actually low.
Oh,
I've got him there because every time I make a decision, I've got him in the background. What would he do? And yeah, I just think that the sort of business that we've got, I just want to be a good person, and that's really the top and bottom of it. I don't want to be screwing customers over. I want to do right by them.
I did see on your Facebook you do some boxing as well, do you? Is that?
Yeah, so I've actually broke my hand at the minute, so.
Oh.
I hope it was a good one.
Yeah.
The customer was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't take it to court, but
I've got him right on the snap. I do a bit of boxing, and one of my best friends is actually a professional boxer in the local area. He's actually got the Commonwealth silver title, and we actually sponsor him. So that's a really good thing that we're doing, and I just want to help people grow in the meantime. If I can help support people, then I will. That's the sort of person I am, really.
Yeah. So have you got any sort of intentions? Obviously, like, the boxing thing's amazing. Have you got any intentions about getting involved with any other sponsorship, local businesses, or anything like that? Have you got a football team, or are you football, rugby, boxing?
I do. For real, I support Arsenal, but I don't really. I'm into boxing. I've always watching boxing. We do want to do a bit of charity work for Ashgate Hospice, which we're actually in the process of doing. They was the people that cared for my stepdad in his last few months of being here. So we want to do that. And ideally sponsor a local football team as well. Yeah, we'd like to do that, like a local football team, maybe one that's just started.
Sorry, I'm just on a podcast at the minute. I'll be done in 5 minutes.
Yeah, go away.
Sending nudes. Yeah, no, I think that obviously, like with, I assume that your dad was in care, and obviously with the charity side of it, that's always something nice, because obviously you feel good about what you're doing. It's nice to give away to charity, and people do recognise it, because it is a tough old gig what they have to go through. But Theo sponsors a local football team. He gets really good returns from it. We do it here. We get really good returns from it. Like I said, just being involved in the community as much as you can, just so like when people think of you, they like you're relatable. Like I see what you're doing on YouTube and stuff, but the audience for YouTube tends to be slightly younger. Whereas if you want to attract the slightly older generation, so 35 plus, sometimes it's a case of advertising the old school way. Don't get me wrong, it will change over time, but if that's the market that you want to attract as well. And have you got you've got intentions of doing finance?
Not at the minute, if I'm honest. I think, again, when I was at the main deal I was at, I've worked in finance for a good few years, and it's just not something that I want to entertain right now, if I'm honest. I think in the future, when the value of the cars go up, which they will do, then yeah, I think you'll be left with no choice. But right now, I'd rather just keep my nose out of it, to be honest.
I think that's a really smart decision.
I just think you get yourself so involved from a legal side. I mean, there's no really bulletin on what a customer's rights are. I know they say 6 months, but I've seen cases where, and I've had it myself when I was working for the company I was at, where there was customers who had these cars for a year and they still got out of them. And I just think, is it really worth that headache of being stuck with somebody for that long?
I think it depends on. So obviously we had a guy on a couple of weeks ago selling more prestige type stuff. Finance is a no-brainer, but if you're going to, especially for the next year or 2 years, you're going to stick to that sort of 3, 4, 5 grand stuff, finance would be, the hoops you'll have to jump through to get it going, great, but you're not going to be selling many on finance, I don't think, because it's first-time cars, isn't it?
Not from £1,800, £500, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'd just grow the business as much as you can, get that place stocked up, and then obviously if you then fill that pitch with the stuff that you're currently selling, and then you decide to move into some more premium type vehicles, then obviously finance is a no-brainer. But
I think you'll know when it's your time to switch over to finance. I think you'll be sitting there going, do you know what? Now is my time. I cannot focus. More than 50% of my customers are coming in and asking for finance. If that's like the main thing, because they can't see it on your website going, do you do finance? Do you do finance? That's the moment when you go, do you know what? I actually do need to get a finance license. And if you can survive now, and you're doing as well as you are now without a finance license, again, I don't think you need it. Like I think you would need it when it's a point when your sales are dropping off, because obviously you'll be raising the profile of your cars. But at the moment, once you're selling what you're selling, like absolutely not. No, I think it's that's a really sensible decision. Which I would back that one. So. Yeah, happy days. So, I think that's about it, unless there's any final bits you want to go through?
No, that's it.
No.
So he wants to get off, James, so he can go and employ that valeter right now.
Yes, come on. Get
if
it done.
If you could his wage for the first 3 months, James, I'll sign him up right now.
I think you're covering his wages for the first 3 months at the moment. He's sat on a big old bag of cash for those 18 deals there. So, yeah, I think you can do that yourself. So you relax yourself. So, I'll tell you what, if you employ him and it doesn't work out and you start dipping off, okay, I'll cover his wage for a month.
Deal. I'll send the contract through after.
Absolutely fine. Not a problem.
No,
I
appreciate the advice for that, because it is something that's been on my mind. I mean, I've worked literally 3 weeks straight. I've not had a day off. So, I am coming to that road. I know I am where I need to, I need to do something about it. So,
And we probably haven't said, we should say this, that you are trying to grow the business, and obviously the business is growing faster than you thought it would do. But just, if you have got 2 young kids at home, just don't miss out on...
That was another reason why I left the job I was in, so it's something I need to sort out, I know that, for sure.
Definitely have a day off. Definitely have a day off.
Yeah, definitely. So, one last thing, if that's okay. Please, can you tell me what your favourite part of your day is as a motor trader?
What the day? When I do a deal.
Just the deal. So when you come into work, bang a deal on. Favourite part of my day.
Just the deal on step.
My favourite part is
I just don't think there's any better feeling than when you sell a car.
No.
Like it's an adrenaline that you can't really explain, and I've never lost
irreplaceable, that is.
Yeah, when they say yes, on Saturday, it was in Friday or Saturday, I did 3 deals within 2 hours, and I was just like, felt like electricity was running from my body. So that is my favourite part.
I saw a TikTok
that'll never go away either. That
I've literally
that TikTok that came up. It was they go like, how does that make you feel? And he goes, it feels like my dick's made of concrete or something, That's fucking brilliant.
I can relate to that.
I was like, that's exactly what it's like being a motor trader when you do a couple of deals. So yeah, it's fucking brilliant. So I respect that. So fantastic. All right, well, thank you ever so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time, and obviously best of luck in the future. I'm really excited for you, and hopefully we can check in a few months and see how you're getting on, and we'll take it from there. So thank you ever so much.
Yeah, all the very best.
Thank you.
See you later.